Human bodies are all different shapes and sizes. So does that mean everyone's approach to building muscle, getting stronger, and improving their health and fitness should be individualized? Well, as a personal trainer of over 10 years, seeing many different types of bodies in several different countries, I don't believe that's the case. However, there are 3 rules that I believe everybody has to abide to or abide by, and in this video, we're going to break these down. The first one being the rule of thermodynamics. Basically, the laws of thermodynamics, excuse me mate, I'm trying to record a YouTube video. Basically, the rules of thermodynamics are how we gain weight, maintain weight, or lose weight. You see, this water level is representing our maintenance level of calories, which is where we burn just as much calories as we consume. Our weight doesn't change. However, if we are to consume more calories than we burn, and we enter a calorie surplus, which is what this line represents, we are going to gain weight. And if we burn more calories than we consume, then we create a calorie deficit, which is where we lose weight. You can really oversimplify it by saying, well, if you want to lose weight, you need to just move more and eat less. And if you want to gain weight, then you should move less and eat more. But I don't really like giving that advice because it's not very helpful. It's not very intelligent. It's just very broad and doesn't give anyone a specific outline to follow to achieve a certain result. But if you did want something reliable to help you gain weight, maintain weight, or lose weight, you can use my free calorie calculator, which will be linked in the description. Now, the calories in versus calories out model cops a lot of flack. Basically because there's a lot of people that say, oh, but what about hormones? And what about if I have a certain autoimmune disease? What if I have insulin resistance? And I can definitely see their side of the conversation. However, the calories in versus calories out model still works for every single human being. However, we aren't robots, and sometimes each person's individual calories in is different, and each person's calories out is different also. So yes, it's not the same for everybody, but we all go through the same process. Moving on to the second law, which is the fact that mechanical tension is how we build muscle or how we cause hypertrophy. Mechanical tension is the pulling force inside your muscles when they contract against resistance or the weights that you're lifting, or if you're doing a bodyweight exercise, it's just the resistance that you're trying to overcome when you are working out. And the way that we can ensure that that happens every single week is through something called progressive overload, which I'm sure you're aware of. But to give you an example, if you are to do 100 kilo squats, and in the first week of your program, you do 100 kilos for 6 reps. Basically, if you want to provide progressive overload the next week when you do that same session, all you have to do is 100 kilos, but now do it for 7 reps. This is a way of providing progressive overload through reps. You can also do it through weight though. So instead of doing 7 reps the next week, what you can do is 6 reps, but you can do it at 105 kilos. So now you have progressively overloaded the weight through increasing the weight. There is also another technical method of progressive overload, and that is when you improve your technique. So if you do 100 kilos for 6 reps with parallel depth, if you squat ass to grass that next week with the same weight, you have now provided progressive overload because it was harder for your body because you did more range of motion for each rep. Now, the final law that people really just can't beat is less of a evidence-based, science-backed lifting tip, but more of something that I've observed as a personal trainer for over 10 years, and that is consistency beats intensity. For example, if you diet and you have a perfect week and you stack all these perfect days on top of each other, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all perfect tracking days hitting your macros, but it's over-restrictive. You're on really low calories. You cut out all the foods that you love. Eventually, you're going to fall off the bandwagon and maybe you're going to have a binge eating night on Saturday. That is going to be less effective than just being a bit more consistent, maybe increasing your calories and being slightly less aggressive with your calorie deficit, including foods that you love so you don't feel like you're on this boring bodybuilder diet. And then what you can do is stack all these really solid weeks that are more consistent but less intense on top of each other. So maybe you go slower, but it's the classic tortoise versus the hare argument. You can go even further and make more progress towards your goals. It's less intense, but you're more consistent. Simply put, long-term consistency will always beat short bouts of intensity. And this goes for everything. It goes with training. You could train every single day and just feel like you really nail it and you're like, boom, look at this perfect week, but then you can't keep up, you can't recover, you can't walk the next day and you're like, I'm over it. Once again, you're not going to last. But let's say you train 2 to 3 reps in reserve, session in, session out. Maybe you only train 3 or 4 times a week because that fits your schedule, it feels more reliable. Now you can make more consistent progress and once again, go even further without the intensity, but with consistency. If you found this video helpful, I also made this video on why your chest is small. I think you'll really like it if you enjoyed this video.